Messages from the Divine. What do we have today? So, this is the deck that I'm pulling from today. It's a very special deck, this one, to me. It's Living Light, the Living Light cards. This is very special to me because this is Meg Blackburn, Losi, PhD. A few years ago, when I was going through some really dense shit, some very dark times, I was working with a practitioner, an energy healer, and a shaman. She is still alive, an amazing human being, and really helped me shift some very big things in my life, and helped me gain a lot of the confidence that I lost, helped me delve into my self-worth, helped me move through mental and emotional health issues, and really supported me on that phase of my journey. And I worked deeply with her for a couple of years, and she pulled these cards out one day, and I was just fascinated by just the cosmic nature of them, right? They're just really, to me, they're just really beautiful cards. There's a lot of sacred geometry here. There's a lot of the cosmos in here, and just the imagery was what was really stunning for me. And ever since then, I regularly just pull these and use these. And so today, just going to pull a card and speak to it, and speak to the relevance it's playing in my life, and maybe the relevance, if you're watching this, it's playing in your life, or the significance that it has. So I'm just going to do a one card draw, one card pull, and for me, all I'm going to ask is, and I often do this, is help me see the unknown, help me see the unseen, help me know the unknown, help me make conscious the unconscious, so that I can work with it at a deeper level, so that I can understand myself at a deeper level, at a more profound level, so that I can navigate the world and my relationships in a more profound way. So I'm just going to just shuffle a little bit here, and in a moment I'll pull a card, and it may be relevant to you, and it may be relevant to me, and it may be relevant to us, and that is the connected collective unconsciousness that, card just dropped, that Carl Jung speaks to. What came? This is interesting. The body, left hand, number 50. That's the card. They're fascinating cards. Some of them are very simple, but if you look at them long enough, they're quite inspiring. The body, left hand. Let's have a look. Number 50. The body, left hand. Your left hand denotes receiving. Can you receive gracefully, knowing that you fully deserve whatever gifts life has to offer? Or do you resist receiving, believing that you are unworthy, invalid, or undeserving? Learning to receive does not make you greedy, only responsible in the journey of self-balance. To give only robs other potential givers of the same pleasure in giving to you as you had in giving to them. Keep the balance between what you give and what you receive. When you do, your resources are unlimited. So this notion of receiving, right? This notion of receiving is an interesting one for so many of us. For me, and I shared that story with you, with this beautiful woman that I spent time with, that really helped elevate me. And one of the core gifts she gave me was teaching me how to receive. And that was very difficult for me, because I was coming from a very broken place, or at least the perception of being broken. This was a number of years ago. I'd split up with my partner at that time. She discovered that I was unfaithful in that relationship, and it brought up a lot of shame and a lot of guilt, resentment in my own self, resentment in previous and past family dynamics. I was working with a lot of old stuff. All trauma came to the surface. My memory started changing. I started remembering some really painful experiences that I had. And I thought to myself, I don't deserve good things in life. I went through a phase where I thought I don't deserve, and I felt I don't deserve anything of goodness. I don't deserve to be loved. I don't deserve to be seen. I don't deserve to be happy. And all of that is around receiving. And I thought that I'd taken so much from people and I'd taken so much from life in a very unhealthy, selfish way that I didn't deserve to receive. And so I had to undo a lot of those patterns and those old entrenched belief systems, because they were also reinforced by family ideology as well. And we lived in a scarcity mentality, a scarcity mindset. That means we were always constantly in this place of needing to survive. And what accompanies that belief and that action in the world is this ideology of we don't deserve, or we are not enough, or we can't receive. And so this has been big for me. And the left side generally in most cultures and most philosophies denotes the feminine aspect of self. We're looking at learning through contrast. The right side is more masculine, the left side is more feminine. There's not a necessary science to this per se. We're talking about symbolism and the sacred and ancient art of symbolism. And again, it just helps us understand our world. And so receiving has generally been very difficult, particularly for men, because in the world and the culture, the society that we've lived in for so long, we've shunned the feminine. We've elevated the masculine, and unfortunately in doing so, we have limited the expression of the feminine, which has brought the masculine into unhealthy, shadow-like, wounded expression, extreme expression, either being hyper-aggressive, controlling, autocratic, oppressive, or really withdrawing from the world and being meek and passive. And so I found myself in both of those places as a man. And repressing that feminine means that we repress the receiving aspect of self. Now, what generally happens with that is when we cannot receive or we struggle to receive, we're in a place of very low self-worth. That's where I found myself years ago when I struggled to receive today in my own contemporary life. It generally correlates with me not feeling enough, or me feeling low in my self-worth, or me not trusting who I am, or me having doubts around my abilities or my expression in the world. And they go hand in hand. And so for millennia upon millennia, the masculine energetic has dominated in an unhealthy, extreme way the world, largely speaking. And this isn't to demonize or say that masculinity is bad. Masculinity is essential. Masculine expression is essential, as is feminine expression. It's two wings of the same bird, two sides of the same coin. We cannot have one without the other, and we've made that mistake. And we've suppressed the feminine, and we've suppressed females, and we've suppressed anything that is different to the masculine. But what happens when we do that is we have to be extreme to own that position. We have to be extreme to dominate. That means we generally have to be controlling and forceful. That means we have to be very narrow-minded and myopic and rigid in our views and in the positions that we hold in life. That means that we isolate ourselves, because now we're developing this very distinct extreme hierarchy. And I notice I do that when I'm feeling pressure, when I'm feeling stress, when I am thinking that I'm not enough, when I'm in comparison mode, when I'm feeling very competitive or hyper-competitive to the point where it's not doing me justice, but it's causing me angst because I'm stressful around not being the best or not being number one. And all that does is limit me and distance me from being in contact with people that matter to me, from learning from other people. I become arrogant. I notice when I'm not in this space of receiving, I become arrogant and egoic. Now, what's really coming up for me now in this time of my life is choosing to go to the next level of expression, whatever that is. There's a lot of unknown there. And so sometimes sometimes I'm okay with it. Sometimes I will be in the unknown and I thrive and I embrace it, I welcome it and I let it come to me and I receive. But there are other times where the unknown feels a little too daunting. There's almost too much risk. It's like, well, if I immerse in the unknown but quote unquote fail, what does that actually mean for me? How do I then show up in my intimate relationship and my intimate relationships? my friends, with my family? How will they see and perceive me? So I better play it safe. Better set the goal or set an objective or accomplish something that I know I can do and at least say that I've done it or finish it, complete it. As opposed to being more immersed into the mystery, which is also the feminine, which is also associated with receiving, because you have to be able to trust to move into the mystery. So many times in my life, I've free fallen without knowing in order to receive the wisdom of that experience, the unknown, the mystery. But that was so difficult for so much of my life. So the season that I find myself in now is I'm about to up level. And I'm welcoming the unknown, but there are pockets in there are moments and pockets in that experience, in that commitment to honoring the unknown and immersing myself into the mystery, where I doubt myself, where I retract and pull back, and I come to that, I approach that with fear, from a place of fear. Then I struggle to receive. I struggle to receive the bounty that the unknown may give me, because now I'm more focused on looking a certain way, or I'm more focused on surviving, and I cannot receive the gifts of that moment. And that can be really painful. And so my invitation to you is, where can you receive more in your life? Where can you figuratively and maybe metaphorically, literally put your left hand out and receive? You know, in some of the traditional shamanic wisdoms, we only give with our right hand and we only receive with our left hand. And so what does that mean to you, to receive more? Maybe it's receiving more love from your partner, more compliments from your partner. Maybe it's the self-talk that you have in here and in here. Maybe it's shifting that towards self-talk that is more inclusive, that is more kind and accepting of who you are and who you've been and where you're going. Maybe it's receiving the gifts that challenge brings us. I know in my life, and especially this year, particularly at the beginning of the year, where I was very frustrated and very angry at what was happening in the world. I felt very restricted, and I was lashing out. I was very short and abrasive and rude and angry and I was just pissed off that humanity hasn't got it right, or at least in alignment with my version of right. Okay? And so can we learn to receive the gifts in the difficulty, in the challenge, in the adversity? And that's been a big, big lesson for me. Because I've always in the past run from that. I've always evaded and avoided adversity and difficulty, and I've numbed myself with pornography, with sex, with the addiction to dopamine and the anticipatory state that puts me in. Adrenaline, the addiction to adrenaline, the addiction to fast cars, fast money, fast women, like all of that. And that doesn't place me in a position to really fully receive and embrace the wisdom of those moments, or of the gifts that I'm actually giving. Enough for now, I feel. Where can you receive more in your life? Pound blessings to you. I'll see you soon.